Race has purpose, 5 cameras.
This is just to make sure that at least one of them. Well, these poor tripods, man. Look at this thing; it's so pitiful. So for anyone that doesn't know, I also do a lot of video work at racetracks. Yeah.
No, it's not that cool. Don't worry about it.
And that includes dirt track racing. And this one's been hit once or twice. Yikes. So don't worry, you should see the car.
But cars or ponies?
No, not ponies. Cars.
Nice.
Pony cars.
Well, he's made some pony cars
Pony
before.
derbies.
Yeah.
There's a division called Pony Stocks, actually.
Wait, is it something you do or?
No, it's not at the track that I'm regularly at.
What's it like?
They're basically 4-cylinder like little Pinto cars and whatnot, front wheel drive machines and.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. I've unpacked.
Are you done?
The room. Okay. So to start things off. All right. So how many of you saw? Actually, I'm gonna take this one. How many of you saw the popcorn bag that I walked in with? Yeah. Yeah.
I smacked it last night. Like, I got a little bit tipsy and walked into our room and I just started like goofing around. Like, I was trying to pretend I was Godzilla. And I started smacking like empty boxes. And I saw the popcorn bag and I'm like, it's Mothra! Yeah! And I smacked it. It wasn't as tightly wound up as I thought, and it went like all over the room. All over the bed. Rachel's just standing there all defeated, like,
It was my popcorn.
Yeah. I already ate mine. So it's courtesy popcorn. I just smacked it clear across the room. I felt like a rock star.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's cool.
And then the next 15 minutes, you were on the ground picking it up.
Yeah, I was like, I'm so sorry.
Eating it off the ground. No.
That was off the bed.
Oh.
Completely different. Germs aren't on the bed.
That's right.
They can't go 5 feet up off the ground.
So yeah. Poor popcorn.
Well, this is the How to YouTube panel. Have any of you done, or I guess joined us for a How to YouTube panel before? Because we've done this, I think, every year. Anybody who's new? Okay, cool. Welcome to the panel. This is relaxed, chilled out, shoot the breeze. Shoot the breeze. shoot the breeze.
Dog.
So we just hang out, talk. If you all have questions about it's like, I guess a little bit of backstory. So Ray's here, has a YouTube channel. He does Brunies React. You want to talk a bit more about that?
Yeah. So I've had my channel, my current channel since I think 2011. I uploaded one video on it, going, "No, this is going to be big." And then I didn't upload anything on it for like, I think like 2 years. And then I got back into it when I got into the MLP fandom, and eventually it took off with the Bronies React series. Has anyone here seen Bronies React? Yeah? Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's okay.
He's alright.
What ruined Saberspark? So that was really where things kind of took off, and it's been a good run. I've had a lot of fun with it because really the channel's been it's always been a hobby for me. But I know that my buddy Saberspark here.
I wouldn't go that far. We're not buddies.
I would say my acquaintance,
a colleague, maybe.
My mortal enemy,
mutual
Saberspark here. I'd say maybe for you started as a hobby and then.
I've yet to meet a person who started a YouTube channel as like a career, because that's hard to do. It's like, it's my career. How many subs do you have? 10. It's like, how do you pay for your rent? It starts as a hobby, usually, where you're just like, I feel passionate about video games or unboxings or something, whatever. And then you gain momentum, and over time, you're like, oh, wow, I'm actually like making money from this. This money makes me hobby, or this hobby makes me money. What's in this coffee? But what seems to be the problem, officer problem, whatever. But okay. But yeah, it was a hobby for me initially, and just talking about random topics on the internet, like, let's talk about cartoons and stuff. And then like you start getting enough momentum to go, okay, well maybe I can do this full time. And that's where I found myself around like late 2015. I started to like talk. I started off like, okay, so my YouTube career, 2008. I started my channel. I made like random YouTube poops, like just terrible garbage, where I'm like mushing footage together for the lulz. And then in 2011, I started talking about My Little Pony videos. Like, oh, let's talk about Equestria, or let's talk about, I don't know, why bronies, people hate bronies so much, or something like that.
Why people shouldn't freak out about Twilight. Or, no, Derpy's voice change.
Yeah. I think
that was the first time I contacted you.
I made a video called, like, this is such a goofy title in hindsight, Ballad of the Brony. I'm not sure if anybody's watched that. Is it that bad?
It's about a bunch of bronies dancing.
Jeez, he's just not holding back. Then my buddy Paleo and I made something called the Brony Chronicles, and that was like our last time talking about ponies. After that, we were like, okay, I think this is all we have to say about it. And
Ever.
then, done. And then I did some sketch comedy videos. But yeah, like right now, I guess I'm kind of just muttering on here. I now find myself with around 700,000 subscribers. I do this full time. It's fun, pays the bills, and I've learned a thing or two along the way. So if you have any questions, this is like a new era right now. You have parents who are like, their kids are like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a police officer. Now they're like, I want to be a Twitch streamer, I want to play Fortnite and get paid. And it's like, I'm not gonna lie, that's could happen. Like, that could be a very less debt. So yeah, so if you have questions about, your channel or content or how to grow or just anything,
yeah.
We're open. This is we're relaxed, chilled out guys.
So yeah, I mean, even if it doesn't pertain to YouTube, we'll still answer it.
Yeah,
But,
we're here for the next hour. So
to warm things up, I'm curious, is there anyone here who, you already asked this, I wasn't quite paying attention, but who is here for the first time at Whinny City? Cool. So thank you guys for coming out. How have you enjoyed it so far? Woo!
Thank you, sir.
The only proper response is not woo. Yeah, we don't usually say, so who has had a terrible time so far?
Yeah, who wants their money back? I do.
Who thinks they traveled the farthest to get here, out of curiosity? Anyone? Not even one. So anyone who raises their hand so far is going to be right.
Are you all from the Midwest?
All right, where are you from?
I'm from Washington, D.C. and Virginia.
Okay. Did you drive or fly or?
Fly.
Okay.
Because there's no way in hell I'm going to be driving 11 and a half hours.
Why? Not.
Yeah.
Can anyone beat Washington, D.C.? Anyone?
So we got a bunch of locals here.
Cool.
Essentially.
Nice. Well, you're from Virginia.
Yeah. I'm
So
out.
that's pretty close for you guys who's farthest. But I'm from California, Southern California. So
I think you
I
win.
win. Take that. So yeah, does anyone have any questions that they want to start off with?
Well, how about this? Anybody has I'll get to you, I promise. But anybody here have a YouTube channel where they make stuff?
5 years old.
5 years old. Well, let's hear about some of these. So tell me about your channel.
So-
Who are you and what's your channel?
Okay, so I'm Drada Arcana. I run a YouTube podcast called Drada Talks now. I started out as a video game channel about 5 years ago, doing Let's Plays and informational video game videos. I did a character build for Shadow of War, which has about 11K views right now.
That's the Lord of the Rings game, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I did that. It's one of my most popular videos, but then I became a brony and I started doing this news podcast, and it's moved into a TV show now. I've sent it on to Equestria Daily a couple times for their nightly roundups, and I did a video not too long ago about season 9 is at the end, and right now.
By the way, just throwing it out there.
Oh, yeah.
I have not watched the premiere.
we were busy.
Just in case, don't spoil it. I want to react to it.
No spoilers.
I knew it.
No, spoilers.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just if y'all are cool with respecting that.
We always laugh when it's like, hey, there's going to be an episode viewing at the convention, and we're like, great, but we're probably going to be busy. And then we're going, hey, so how's everyone doing out there? Okay.
You're from where? Where? All right, so
I've also had several special guests, including Pirate Dash, another reactor by the name of Colorado Contraptions. His content, I follow him because he's a close friend, but I think he's a really good reactor as well, same as.
cool. Why don't we have somebody named Nuclear? That way they can call them a nuclear reactor.
I don't know.
It'd be cool.
We'll change your
Probably
name.
say nuclear around.
Rebranding for your channel.
All right, other channels. Let's hear it. What about you?
Well, my channel is Anime Guy 01. I made it like several years ago. So, and I've done a bunch of random stuff, like between fanfic readings, let's plays. I tried a podcast, which only lasted about 2 episodes.
That's longer than mine.
And then like more recently, it's like I've been doing like any random, I'm trying to like random stuff that I can probably make in like 5-10 minutes.
Okay, cool. All right, let's hear a few more, and we can get the questions going. Let's hear yours.
So I'm Massacre Molly on YouTube. I mostly do music covers, either from shows from the fandom or some of my favorite songs in general. And I also do discussion videos of them where I go over not necessarily controversial episodes, but others that everybody else has different opinions on. And I try to give a different perspective on how this episode portrays either real stuff that has affected people in real life or stuff that I've had personal experiences with.
Okay.
So I mostly do those sorts of discussion videos.
Nice, very good. All right, let's hear yours.
I've been a few channels. The first was 2007. It was just me vlogging and talking about all sorts of topics. I made over 500 videos and got about 3 million subscribers. So that didn't work out quite as well as I hoped. Eventually, though, I got to do This Week in On channel, Bunny in a Box, running radio plays, which was going really well until the guy with the YouTube geek kind of disappeared.
Oh no.
So we hope he comes back.
Hit a train, just left town.
Yeah, you need to have more than one person with the passion.
Yeah. All right, you got a question.
I have a question for both of you.
Okay.
So, Grace, I'm really happy you shared your wedding with us. I was really surprised, but it was so pretty, and the flower theme, I loved it. But do you guys have a line where it's personal and entertainment, and how much you overshare? Where would you draw the line?
Interesting. Well, it's funny that you asked that because
Sarah actually paid her to ask this question.
I need to know where the line is.
Yeah.
What's funny is that before I even aired the wedding, Sarah and I were gonna go on our honeymoon, and I made a Twitter post all right, cool, gonna crank out the camera or whatever. And I had a few people that were like, no, you can't film your honeymoon. It's personal. And I'm like, thanks for telling me what I can do on my honeymoon. All right. And it's funny because Sarah is the one who responded to it because the impression we were getting from people was that that I was basically the one going, I'm gonna do this, and everyone's like, no, your poor wife. Or Sarah's the one who's sitting here going guys, I already know this is happening. It's not I just found out.
I don't know who I'm
So she even responded to it being like, do it. And yeah, so obviously with the vlogs and whatnot at conventions, for anyone that's seen that, I vlog the conventions. It's not I'm vlogging all right guys, getting ready to take a shower, thanks for joining me in here, soaping up my pits. There's
That's one
a
of the fun parts.
That's a different.
Sorry.
A different website.
All right, well, actually, never mind. So as far as where the line goes, because then I shared the wedding, and I had a few people also comment on that and be like, oh wow, you shared this with us. For me, actually, to fall back on the honeymoon and why I'm filming that stuff, it's the same reason why I'm filming these conventions as intensively as I am, is that as much as I love sharing it with everyone else, it's also so I can look back at it and be like, oh yeah, that happened. Because my memory is not the greatest. So for me, it's something that I always know that I can look back at and be like, okay, this is super cool. Get to relive moments, whether they were at conventions or the honeymoon or the wedding. So that's the big reason why I love doing it in the first place. And I was gonna have my camera rolling, during our honeymoon and whatnot at all the different things that we were gonna be doing at Disney World, and then we went on a cruise after that. So I was gonna have all that stuff being recorded, and for me, it's fun to be able to share that with everyone, whether or not they want to watch it. To answer your question now, where is the line drawn? I feel like for me, my goal is always to kind of maintain at minimum. Well, I don't know. And now I'm trying to think of like how to answer this even
You got
properly.
it. Checkmate.
Oh God, I was just talking to try and think of an answer. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have some. I know you don't play.
I think I'm close to race, and I got the chance to like over these last 8 years watch you and Sarah, grow as a couple, and how you present your life on YouTube, and it's like you love using these cameras to archive your life, like you said, to go back and rewatch. Because not only do you record them and edit this stuff, but you go back and you enjoy this content. Like I know that you before cons, you'll like watch all the Whinny City vlogs from like 2017 and 18 and get them, hyped up for 2019. And I'm sure at this moment right now he'll watch in the future. Hey, future race.
Hey.
Like he'll be enjoying.
And Saber might watch this.
I probably not make it to that point. but too much talk about it. But smacking popcorn.
Yeah.
But yeah, he seems to know when to cut it off, where it's like a sensitive topic, or if a friend says something where it's like, hey, let's just be real for a second. Let's take the camera off.
It's actually it's one
He's
thing,
not like some producer who's like, oh, keep the cameras rolling or anything like that.
Well, it's one thing that I actually really appreciate is that, when I am doing the convention stuff, again, there'll be times where I'll be filming, and like you said, there'll be something like a really personal topic that'll come up because I'm filming in the car. What I appreciate about our group of friends is they also know that like they don't need to turn to me and be like, hey, turn off the camera.
No, you already hear the little beep going off, and
or if I'm still recording, they all know that I'll edit through everything and cut out things that's like, okay, no, that's.
But you're
not
also really
going
good about like one time we saw like this crazy drunk person in Baltimore dancing the streets, and we're like, oh my gosh, and we just hear the beep in the background. We're like, okay, he's on it. He's on the phone. And we're like looking down the street, some guys like dancing around.
Jolly drunk man.
Yeah, it's like, this is worth recording. Let's check it out. So it's nice to have those like videos, because I know that like when I'm in my 70s, I'll look back on these as sweet memories. And and I appreciate that you do that, by the way.
Yeah. So I guess to answer that question, I try to not include anything that's like too personal that doesn't belong. So it's like, hey, this is. I mean, there could be a personal moment that's funny. That's like, hey, let's share this. This was a genuine good moment. I just feel like I also feel like they typically have a tone. Like the vlogs and whatnot, and so I always try to cut out anything that again can get too personal or anything, but where that line is typically depends on the tone of the film, I mean I do have a line. It's just I'm now realizing how hard it is to describe it.
You seem to know though.
Yeah.
Just you feel the situation. He's at least aware enough to know like, all right, this is okay to record versus, let's put the camera down.
Yeah, like, we're not filming this one. So, yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, that was a good question. Really good.
Sorry to keep it going so long, but Saber, I love your What the Hell series. Joshua, I watched it like 5 times. It's so funny. And
Thank you.
I know someone beat me to it, but I don't want you. I just want you to have it. You don't have to.
Oh my gosh. What is this?
And my comment gets lost in all the comments, but it was on Cartoon Network, and it's just ridiculous. But it's older.
This is so sweet of you. Are you sure you want me
Yeah,
to?
please, you.
Thank you. I love this. This is the second movie that's given me at the convention to review. I love it. Thank you.
You know what this reminds me of? Is
What?
when, like last year and in past years, so I'm a big Zootopia fan. And people have given me some really awesome Zootopia gifts. And I remember Saber made a comment. He's like, I need to find a movie that I really like, so I get stuff. But now you got it.
Jokingly, by the way.
Jokingly, right. But now you're getting all the bad movie stuff.
Which I legitimately love watching bad movies. I do. And it's one of those interesting characters that I don't remember ever seeing this. So
Is that Lumiere?
no, it's just a candle, I think.
Oh.
Because there's a lot of animation out there that people just don't even know exists. They just kind of went under the radar.
So would that mean you'd be willing to risk your sanity on watching Food Fight?
I've watched it. I watched it back before I even did the What the Hells. For those who don't know, I do a YouTube series called What the Hell, where I just review really strange, obscure, and bad films.
That's like on the worst list of everybody's.
Yeah, I remember. I watched it with my buddy Tommy Oliver, and he is like super dry humor. And I remember like we got to the part where like that villain's like a giant robot walking around like destroying Food City, and he's just no joke, he's screaming. Like, he was screaming at the top of his lungs. So, like, I want to review it eventually, but it's also one of those movies where everybody reviewed it. Like, everybody.
Yeah.
Even channels who don't do movie reviews reviewed it. And I'm like, I'm going to wait. And I don't want it to be derivative, where it's like I'm saying what people have already said, which is why I look for, like, you know, I'm definitely going to check this out, for instance. And there's a film called Ronald the Barbarian, which it's on YouTube for free. It's like the Scandinavian film where it's got like this tribe of barbarians. And I discovered it because someone emailed me saying, hey, I watched this kid's movie called Ronald the Barbarian. It's so inappropriate. And I'm like, well, I like these kind of movies because you like to see the line they walk where it's like, well, they're being too vulgar, what classifies it as a kid's movie. They're just straight up dropping the F-bomb left and right. There's nudity. I'm like, Mr. Email, you lied to me. This is not a kid's movie. If this is a kid's movie, then what's your definition of an adult film? So,
I think we want to know.
check it out. Any other questions? Yes.
Well, I have a question, but first I want to say, like, back when you were talking about how people were saying, like, oh, don't film your honeymoon. Like, around that time, I remember seeing DeWilsonator, Brony Analyst, like him posting his honeymoon up on YouTube. Like,
well, again, like further with it, communication is a big thing. Like with Sarah, like she already knew. Like when she got into this relationship, she knew that I film everything. And yeah, like for her, you know, we'd been together for 10 yeers. And then we got married. Yeah. And then so for her, the camera is like she's used to it. Like when I proposed to Sarah, I set it up as like, oh, I'm here vlogging at Disneyland, and to her it was completely not weird because she's like, well, he does this all the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ACRacebest, his first prostate exam. Doctor, how are you feeling today?
So
that's the line.
So for that, like, I was actually able to use it to my advantage because I'm like, she's not going to think anything's out of the norm. And then I was able to
It's not like Grace wakes her up at the night with the camera just stuck in her face, like, Sarah, say hi to the camera.
Well, I only did that once during the honeymoon, and then the camera disappeared after that. So. No, but yeah, so yeah, it's again, it's a communication thing, and Sarah was just laughing because she's like, I feel like people are trying to white knight me and being like, no, for Sarah, you mustn't do this, and Sarah's but I want him to do it.
Yeah, they don't know Sarah. They don't know your relationship. So it's a bit different because, like, maybe to other families and groups and couples that might seem out of the norm, but for you and Sarah, you've been doing this for years. So it's what you guys have come to call the norm.
Yeah, and again, it's so I can look back at it and be like, oh yeah, we went ziplining. Oh.
Like, did anybody ever see the raccoon video, like, from his wedding?
Oh.
Okay, I got a quick little rundown. So, Ray's myself, my girlfriend, and our buddy Black Griffin. Does anybody know who Black Griffin is?
What?
Yeah, don't give him too much credit.
$2
Yeah, only 2 million, whatever. But he.
I remember when he only had one.
Yeah, 2 months ago now. He was with us at the wedding. We were dropped off to go to the hotel and call it a night. Well, we went by the sewer grate and we saw like a bunch of baby raccoons in the sewer grate with mama raccoon behind them. And it's like the sewer grate had like, I think it was like 3 little bars that ran across.
Just so like young children won't.
Yeah. And the babies, they could easily go through the grates if they wanted to. And it's kind of like, here's the hole, like, but then there's a little bit of like a overflow so they can stand. And it's so funny seeing this mama raccoon like pulling her kids away, hissing at us. Of course, Gabe, being the idiot that he is, decides to walk up with his leftover French fries in an attempt to feed them. And now you're filming this, this is on his YouTube channel. Gabe goes over the sewer grate and he's just dropping fries trying to lure them out. And Gabe knows, I think he knows kind of the line to cross with animals. Yeah. Like, this is also the guy who got chased by a bison when he was a kid, had to run up a tree to hide from it. Yeah.
Oh no!
And everything.
It's probably happened more than once.
Yeah, Gabe lives life on the edge. He's a adrenaline junkie. But yeah, it was funny because like one of the raccoons, like baby raccoons, like, he threw the fry out. Baby raccoon like walked out pretty far away from the grate, grabbed the fry, turned around, and Gabe just sitting there just on top of the sewer grate, smiling at him like this. And it was such a universal like, oh crap, like feeling. Like you actually see the baby raccoon go like that and freak out.
And just that slow back away.
Yes. And you also see Mama Raccoon grabbing the babies and pulling them down to the sewer, like, nope, like, stay away from the, So, yeah, that was, I guess, a good example of, like, us filming things and archiving it for
moments.
Yeah, moments.
So, yeah, you never know. They always crack me up.
Yeah, but I think I cut you off. We were on to something.
He's like, I got a question, but first, and we're like, well, we'll answer that.
Raccoons.
Like earlier I said like, oh, I made like I make a couple of like random videos that I just suddenly had a thought of. It's like about middle of March. Like I was watching Digimon, and I suddenly had a thought. Hey, what if I did this? I basically made a video, took about like maybe 30 minutes to make. I uploaded it. A week later, it had over 10,000 views.
Nice.
And it's like before that, my most viewed video was about like 900 views.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all of a sudden, and at the moment it has 21,000 views. And I've gained like 60 subscribers from my original like 48 to currently have right now 110.
Nice.
It's like, I do not know what to do right now because it's like.
Well, it depends on like, do you want to? Here's something that I've discovered, is like, if you find something that works on YouTube, and you start getting views and likes and subs from it, run with it. Like legit, go. What did I do right? Okay, the audience who showed up came because of Digimon. I'll do another Digimon video. Maybe. Though it all depends on what you want to do personally.
It's like I am thinking of continuing like a Digimon Let's Play that I had started like a couple of years ago and getting back into it. And that might help out.
Yeah. There's a buddy of mine who he's doing these really silly videos where he like takes, Billy and Mandy guys, the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that one guy Erwin who talks like this, yo. Like he does a really good impersonation of that guy's voice, and he's doing it as like a Thanos character as Erwin. And he's got like 500,000 views on the video, and he's still cranking out Erwin Thanos videos, and it's like, I guess that's a thing, and people are hungry for it. You give people what they want, so yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that, just because I had, before my ACRacebest channel, I had a previous channel, and the unfortunate thing about it is that I can't even find like how to log into it. I don't know what email I used for it back in the day. I don't know what password I used for it, and I can't. The problem is the email, because I can't even trace back to being like, hey, I forgot password. I'm like, I don't even know if the email exists.
Looking at this, why
Go for it. But it's funny because on that channel, like most of the videos have like 20 views, 21 views, and there's one video on that channel that it was just like a music video I did with just pictures that we took. And I think it's just because everyone was like, oh, there's this song that we haven't heard, and they found it, and that's where they trace it back to, and it has like 100,000 views. And it's just so funny seeing like the channel, it's like, I got 15 views on this video, and then, oh, boom, one with 100,000. And there's nothing I can do about any of the videos on that because I can't even log in.
Is there a way we will be able to find this old
Well, what I want to do with the videos is actually, because when I rendered them way back in the day, like they look terrible now on YouTube. So I want to see if there's a way that I can get them off, because I'd love to actually put them on my channel now, just so people would see what dumb stuff I was doing when I was younger.
There are many websites where you can just download the video.
There are, but the problem with it is that there's also a number of videos that I think are long and gone that had a lot of copyrighted music on it that got pulled.
Oh.
And so I just want to get into the channel just to see what videos that I liked back in the day, just so I could be like, oh yeah, this video. Like it's like a part of me is locked up. I can see the box, but I can't get inside it. And I'm like, hacker. So yeah.
I'm gonna read the back of this box for you guys, by the way. So the movie's called Millionaire Dogs. Here we go. 5 irresistible dogs and a zany parrot live together under the protective roof of Miss Lily's house of pets. There's a line in this that makes it worth reading, by the way. Here, we'll get to it. These scruffy but adorable dogs are the best of friends, a real team. Who needs money when you've got your friends? It's like My Little Pony. And the security of Miss Lily's mansion. But then, a sudden mega inheritance turns these pups into a pack of pampered millionaire dogs. It's like Aristocats. But here we go. Before you can say, who let the dogs out, these hot dogs are out of the fat, that's what this says, are out of the fat and into the fire. What the heck does that mean? You mean out of out of the frying pan and into the fire?
Is this going to be the new voice you use for your videos?
Maybe. I'm thinking about what ruins cartoons. Now they're in for the biggest adventure of their lives. Can their all for one and one for all loyalty overcome their selfish dreams of fame and fortune? Not rated. So, yeah. Sorry, the who let the dogs out line. That got me. That got me.
All the dog puns you can add in that.
Out of the fat and into the fire.
Yeah, what the heck? What is that? I never.
That'll be the new name of our How to YouTube channel. Or the Savvy channel.
Why not?
A whole channel devoted.
Questions? What's up?
Okay, so a few months back, I tried to do blind reactions for the MLP, and one of the things that I discovered is Hasbro has a knack for giving reactors copyright issues. Mm-hmm. And I know that you can use the law that states that you can, it's educational, non-transformative. Fair use. But at the same time, how do you draw the line when making videos outside of that? When you run into things like sometimes you can't film in certain locations and without permission, or because I used to do freelance videography, and you have to be really, really careful in certain locations. Sometimes you need release forms and stuff. So how do you, both in professional and YouTube, how do you avoid running into that?
I'm laughing because I have 2 examples of this. The first one is the lesser. It was almost kind of the worst one, but also not as funny. So the first one is there's another channel I have on YouTube called Low Budget TV, or LBTV Productions, and it's a channel I do with my friend Tommy, and it's all about the racing stuff that we film. As I mentioned, why half these tripods are falling apart, so we've been doing that since 2007, and one of the biggest things that was starting to take off on our channel was that we would go to Monster Jam events and just film, and the only rule they had on their ticket was no video cameras. To which we went, okay, well, we'll take a picture camera and video off of that. And they didn't have an issue. In fact, they got rid of their no video camera rule later. So we thought, oh, even better. Things are, like, we were able to walk in with a video camera, no problem. So we had a lot of videos of Monster Jam that people came to expect. Like, we had a solid flow of people coming in going, oh, sweet, Monster Jam videos covered on the West Coast. What's nice about it is that the revenue that we made from those videos went right back into tickets that we were buying to go to the next events. So it's not like we were like, aha, take the money and run. It was kind of all going back into it. Until one day where we woke up and our channel wasn't even a channel because the notification on it was, hi there, your channel's been shut down.
Oh.
And we're like, what? And it was all like the Monster Jam entertainment people went after a bunch of our videos at once. Like they put strikes on like 25 videos, and it just was like goodbye.
So it was a bunch of mass flagging. And
they just went after us. And the thing is, like we're just sitting there like, oh my god. And we had, it might have actually been Little Shy, but there was somebody who I knew had contacted somebody because they had something happen like that, and they were able to contact the person, email them and say, hey, I want my channel, what can I do to make you happy? And we essentially did that with them, and they're like, well, just take down every Monster Jam video. We're talking like a lot of videos, like maybe like 400 videos that they're like, yeah, just take those down. And we're like, oh, all right. So we did, and we did get our channel back. Because the big focus of our channel, while the monster truck videos were like, oh sweet, this is bringing people in, we've been doing it for the circle track racing side of it. So yeah, it was like, man, that would be such a big loss just to lose all that footage and stuff from 2007. So that was like, we basically found out that, oh, this can happen to our channel when it did. And it was like, well, that stinks quite a lot. Yeah, so we just basically like, well, if that's how they want to be, we're just not even going to go anymore. And what's weird too, to add to why it's hard to figure out that line, is that they actually say, because they understand that social media helps them, but I think what was happening was our videos were getting more views than the ones they were uploading, so that's why they went after us. Because they tell you at the end of their TV production stuff, they say, hey, if you go to a Monster Jam event, send us your pictures and your video and all this. They say, take video of the event. So I'm like, I wonder legally where we stand here when they're actually promoting taking videos of the event. I'm like, that's what it's not like we were sitting there like slandering the event or anything. We were just like, critiquing the driving as a joke and just kind of giving like feedback like any announcer would. But we're a little goofier. But yeah, I think it was just the size of the videos and how many people were using that as their way of seeing things. But whatever. So that was number one. Like I said, that was bad, but not as funny as the other one, which involved me getting kicked off of Fremont Street in Las Vegas. Because we were filming. Has anyone here seen the videos, My Little Vegas videos? Yeah? All right, well, there's a reason that we don't have many of those made now, is because the My Little Vegas videos, we filmed them on Fremont Street. For anyone who hasn't been to Vegas, it's basically like old-time Vegas. If you see like older like 90s videos of Vegas, you'll see Fremont Street all over them. And there's a lot of people that party hard and get on things that maybe you shouldn't get on, and drink things maybe you shouldn't drink, to the amount that they drink it. And so I'm like, dude, I want to go around and interview drunk people and just ask them very, very ambiguous questions about My Little Pony. Just walk up and be like, hey, who's your favorite pony? And see what they come up with. and what happened was, if you haven't seen it and you enjoy drunk people shenanigans, check it out, because the first one I can't even believe, like some of the answers we got. But what happened was, I think it was either the next year or the year after that, we did it, and we had this like group of guys that were all just high and who knows on what, and this guy started rapping, and he went on for maybe 10 minutes, and the whole time that he was doing it, security kind of came out of nowhere, and they're like, you guys need to leave right now. You need to leave. Like, you can hear them in the background of the video, like, let's go, it's time to go. And I'm like, well, okay, we filmed enough tonight anyways, and we headed out. But as we were leaving, they told us, they're like, if you guys do this again, we're gonna, or no, they didn't say anything that. They just said, you guys have to leave. And then we ended up being back there a few months later, and the same exact security guy saw us walking around, and all of a sudden, like, you see the moment where he realizes it's us. He's like, hey, you. And we told him, we're like, well, we're just filming it for like home video, whatever. He's like, yeah, we'll see this on MAV TV or something, won't we? And I'm like, oh, that's the problem. They think we're with cameras like that filming for MAV TV, but whatever. And yeah, and the guy said, he's like, if I ever catch you guys back here, I'm gonna write you up for trespassing. And it's so funny because like the security are all worried about us filming on Fremont Street in this very, hey, everyone come on in area, when there's people literally like puking their guts out in the corner because they're just like, there's all this shenanigans. It's like Sin City except for cameras, guys. Don't film it. It's so weird. But yeah, it's
I think it's the PR thing. They're like, yeah, we know there's all kinds of vices and sin, but like,
what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, probably.
Yeah, right.
Probably afraid of like. I can see why they'd be afraid.
Yeah, and the thing is, with what we were doing, like we weren't walking up to people. Like that was the one thing we made sure we didn't do. We didn't approach people with the mic and just put it in their face. I just stood there like this by myself with the microphone, just standing here. on Fremont Street like this, and the drunk people are like, oh my God, a camera!
Like, I liked them all.
It actually ended up being a really easy thing to film, except everyone that was there filming it with me were all convinced they were always going to die. They're like, someone's going to just pull out a knife at some point or whatever.
Yeah.
But yes, so it's hard.
Was there like one where like somebody thought like Celestia or Luna were like presidents and who they were voting for?
I asked them, who would you vote for, Celestia or Luna? And the guy's like, Like, they take it seriously. They're like, okay. Well, I'm going to vote for Luna because it's shorter. And I'm like, there you go, guys. There's our whole political climate right there. Which one's easier to say? But yeah, just research. I guess to answer your question, research what you can. If you think you're going to be filming on a location that you need to have permission to do so, and that'll at least set you up for the best. But I know when it does come to permission at some venues, you usually find out what you don't want to find out, which is them going, well, who are you? Who are you with? Nah, we're not interested. And it just... It's a tough line to kind of have to fight against sometimes, but that's the beauty of filming in your own home. So, yeah.
I have two questions. They go hand in hand. The first is, have you ever filmed inside a Walmart? And two, if you have you gotten kicked out because of it?
We filmed in a Walmart at RennyCon 15?
Oh my God, I didn't even... this one, yes.
Was it 15? We went to a break.
No, it was the
Or was it 14?
It was 13.
Oh my God, time flies. So we were at BronyCon 2013. We went to go pick up Gabe at. He's an idiot. Black
He's the smartest idiot that we know.
The smartest idiot that we know out there. He was flying back from Japan to Baltimore, and the dummy decided to. He'd be landing in Dulles, which is like Northern Virginia, DC, essentially. Woo! So it's like, what, a 2-hour drive?
It's nowhere near the convention center.
Yeah, well, it could be worse. It could be like Alabama or something.
He thought when he looked at it, he said he thought it was Dallas. And he's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, well, we had to go get in a van and drive down to Dulles to go pick him up. And it was a fun road trip though. It was like you, me, and about like 8 of our other friends, because our buddy rented a van, like a big white van, and we all drove down to go pick him up. And we picked them up, and then we decided to go to the Walmart nearby and go inside for some reason.
For some reason, I can't even think of why.
I think we needed to pick something up, and we went in there. Oh no, Monty. So Eileen, Monty, and Carl, Galaxy Art. They were like, Monty's British, Carl is Swedish. They wanted to go inside an American Walmart. That was the reason.
Yeah.
So we went inside. They took off. I decided to be a fool. I don't know why I did this, but I decided to get into one of the little little carts and start driving it around.
I know why you did it.
So I was being careless and driving around, and not like in an obnoxious way, but just driving around.
No, just waving the American
flag. And I was like, "Woo, America!" And this Walmart employee walked up, and they're like, "Excuse me, sir, this is meant for disabled people." And I'm like, "Well, I got ADD." She's like, "Get out of here!" And I'm like, "Fine." And you actually see he filmed it of like me like waving the flag around, like, "Oh, America!" Like,
he actually to give Walmart credit or us, I don't know, one of the people credit. We had that thing for a while.
Yeah,
you drove it up and down the aisles for a while.
It was fun. I was knocking like macaroni and cheese and like box in the little cart. And I was like, "No, this and this." And, of course, I put it back. I never leave a mess, and I try to. These are retail.
Tell that to our popcorn room.
That's different.
I never leave a mess.
But I don't want to make life harder for a retail worker or anybody in the food industry because I've been there. But when they were like, "Get out," I'm like, "Okay, fine." But not before I at least get snarky with one ADD comment or something. What's up?
When they tell you to get out, that's when you're just like.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Who's joking now?
Did I mention I have crippling ADD?
Yeah, crippling. I can't move my kneecaps.
I can't get up.
Right.
Yeah.
What was your other question? Oh, that was 2-part. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, if you ever got kicked out for filming.
So there's one.
It wasn't technically for filming. It was this guy.
There was this one time we went to Pacific PonyCon, and we went to like a Walgreens to stop by and get some supplies for his wife, and we went to the toy section of the Walgreens because the pharmacy, when they have toy sections, it's always kind of like garbagey toys. Still awesome, like plastic dinosaurs and water balloons. And you and I were having like a ball just laughing at all the toys. Like there was like an action figure of like Nosferatu or something. And we're like, what? Why Nosferatu or the Phantom of the Opera? Like who wants action figures of the 1920 monsters? What the heck?
And this was also right after Star Wars came out.
Yeah,
so you found the Star Wars mask. You're like, hey, Race, Trader!
Stormtrooper screams Trader.
Also, kids' toys of like the Walking Dead characters.
Yeah.
Kids are watching.
It's so random. Like, yeah.
Go figure. But Sarah walked up, pulled us aside, and she was kind of giggling to herself because she was like, come here. And we're like, what? And she's like, so I was in the front checking out, and the lady in the front was like getting upset. She's like, there's two boys in the back. They're just laughing and causing a mess. We should ask them to leave and kick them out.
She was talking to her manager, by the way. Hey, Maury, go take care of this. And I'm like, why is she telling the manager what to do?
Well, then Sarah walks back and tells us, like, yeah, we're going to get in trouble if we don't leave right now. And we were all walking out as a group. Because I think Sarah actually spoke to that lady being like, yeah, those guys must be really annoying. And then, like, walked out with us. So the lady's probably like, yeah, they are annoying. Wait, you know them? Trainer! So, yeah. Any other questions? We still got about, I think, like 20 minutes. Oh, no, 13.
13 minutes. Any questions? Could be anything.
Anything at all.
But where else we've been kicked out of? Yes.
How has your camera changed over the years?
Well, this is the newest model that's here. Usually when I stop using the camera, it's because I've literally destroyed the previous one. The one that I was using to film, it was the screen was falling off, the lens was falling out. It's been quite a road. But when I first started these back in 2012, filming them, I had this camera that I probably got for Christmas or something, and it didn't even film in it was like a 4:3 aspect ratio. So I got these big old bars on the side. Quality obviously wasn't that great. That's another thing that's fun. Like I just did this whole watch through of all the con vlogs from the first one all the way till BronyCon last year, which was the last one we went to before this one. And just seeing like the rise in quality, I'm like, oh, I can start figuring out whose face is whose now. This is great. I've always found for me that like kind of simpler camcorders, I tend to have better luck with the audio. Like I know some people go all out with like microphones and all that, but I try to have as small of a setup I can so I can just pull the camera out if I need to. Audio's always been something that I've been having to figure out because I've ended up with some cameras where if I hold it like this and I'm talking behind the camera, it muffles out my voice.
Yeah, my camera.
I'm like, oh no. And some of them, there's settings that you can adjust that, but other cameras I had it wasn't an option. It was just directional. And I'm like, oh no, I hate this. So
it's funny how like when you record in the camera, like it seems to be a bit more natural versus like I hate recording, guys. I do. I'm not good at it. I always get very self-conscious about recording from a microphone, which, it's funny, the way I'm talking right now is very different from what my videos sound like, because when I record a video, I sound a lot more like this, and I kind of draw out that last word in my sentence, versus just talking like this, ponies. But it's because I go into the switch goes off in my brain. I'm like, okay, I have to read off the script. And I'm trying to break that mentality, but it's funny how I think you're kind of in the same ballpark where when you film from a camera, you just own it and you sound natural. Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? ACRacebest here, talking about My Little Ponies, British React, versus us. Because we did a recording for a collaboration recently where we're these two characters in some script, and we're like, well, we will be evil then. It was just awful. If you dare challenge us.
Yeah, typically when I film anything with camera, it's unscripted. Like I might have bullet point notes, but I don't like scripting anything.
Which is hard because I do script because there's so much detail in my videos with
yeah, you have to.
If I fudge on a date Tom and Jerry's made, I don't know, some time ago, it's like, no, give me a date. Come on.
Yeah, you need for what you do.
Because people are like, just memorize the scripts. I'm like, I wish I could just memorize a script a week. That'd be great. Yeah. But that's hard.
It is funny because I know even looking back at some past voice work and I'm like, man, this sounds terrible. Not you.
No,
me.
no. So Paleo is house sitting for me right now, and we were watching some of our old videos from like 2011, and my Battle of the Brony video, we were watching it, and it was, oh Lord Almighty, it is rough. So like, there's a part in the script where I'm talking about how people were hating on bronies back in like 2011, and I was like, what? I'm like, come on guys, they are ponies, and like the microphone's clipping, my audio is completely not balanced at all, my delivery lines were awful, and it just, dude, so here's the thing though that gets me about it. I know that 10 years from now I'm gonna look back on right now and go, wow, I sucked at this. Like, you never stop improving, ever. Even masters of their craft still are looking for ways to get better. And I'm not by any means saying I'm a master of my craft, but I've learned a few things over these last like 10 years. And it's just a way of growing and evolving and going, well, how can I improve my editing, my recording, my writing, my research, my delivery of my lines and things like that. Like, you just constantly look for ways to improve, find somebody else who does it better, ask, what are they doing that makes them stand out, and how can I emulate that? Not necessarily copy it, but emulate it, and also like add my own trademark ways to it and make it my own. Because like, again, like I sound terrible back then, and I'm already mentally preparing myself for a decade from now, looking back and going, oh, I sounded terrible then too. But it's a progress.
And in regards to the camera question, if I wasn't sure if you're asking like actual model numbers or anything.
No.
Okay.
It's just like how you went from like whatever camera you start out with to where you're at now. What you.
And usually, like I said, the progression of the cameras is because I destroy one. Like the first one I ever used, that got demolished in a trailer race because a boat flew over a car and took the camera with it. Yeah. If anyone here watched The Low Budgets, by the way? Yeah? Okay, cool. For anyone that doesn't know, what I do in that series is we prepare like demolition derby cars, and Sarah, my wife, she'll paint them up as characters, either from My Little Pony or other cartoons. I have done a demolition derby in a Judy Hopps car, yes. And so it's like we make it kind of like goofy and whatnot, and yeah, there's some crazy stuff that happens in those. More to come from that. Yes.
So this was actually something because I've watched like your Brony react videos and stuff. I always wondered how exactly did Paleo get involved in this? Did you like pick him up on the side of the road?
Yes.
Yeah, we saw him.
We saw him in Fremont Street.
He had a big old pony plushie. It's crusty.
So out of place.
Yeah. Paleo is one of my best friends. We go back to like late 2011. We've been best friends ever since. I think because you recruited me for the second Bronies React, and then by proxy, I think we brought on Paleo through me eventually.
I started, because a lot of the stuff, again, like Bronies React, I'm working with like friends of mine, for the most part, and
I thought we're friends.
For the most part. And but yeah, so I by that point I think I'd already met Paleo at conventions and whatnot. Of course, he was with Saber. Saber was with him, and it was a match made in heaven. And so.
Yeah, this has been a great place to make friends. Like it's so. I was talking about this at I think the Bronies React panel where we now live in this era where you can I have a good friend of mine who I talk to who lives in Japan, and it's it used to be where your life was a bubble in your town, and maybe you might have some family across the country or whatever. Mm-hmm. But nowadays it's hey, I have a friend who lives in Seattle, and one in England, and one in Mexico, and I got a bunch from the East Coast, and I just know people from all over the place. And thank God for that, because I grew up in a little small private Christian school where my graduating class was no joke about 16 people, and I'm there was one guy who was my best friend who to this day we still hang out. But everybody else, I'm so sick of these people. I'm sorry, they're not bad people, but it's this is your pool of people to work with. You want more, and because of the internet, because of fandoms, and being able to communicate online, you can meet so many more people and have more options of who you click with. Because you're not going to click with everybody. There'll be some people. It's not necessarily they're bad people. You just don't click with them. I'm not really into the NFL. And they're well, I'm not really into pink ponies. And you're understandable. But then again, there's a double-edged sword because then you meet people who are it's the internet. You're going to meet jerks as well. People who are just no matter what, there will always be jerks. And it's a tough line to walk because, like, I was mentioning this in the Brains Rack panel as well. I was going through my comments, and it's not like I'm ignorant to it all, where I'm like, oh, I don't want to hear the bad comments or whatever. I know they exist. But at this point, it's like, I feel like I'm not going to really read my comments, like, because it's just toxic, and it's venom, and it's not really people trying to build you up. I will always listen for constructive criticism. When folks are like, Saber, you sound kind of robotic-y with your narration. Can you improve on that? I'm like, no, you're right. I can.
But you also seek out that constructive criticism with your with
my colleagues, my
yeah.
loved ones.
Yeah.
Like, my girlfriend keeps me honest, where I'm like, do I sound stupid? And she'll go, absolutely. And I'm like, start over.
She's like, but it won't change no matter what you do.
Yeah, you're stuck with that, buddy. But it's a permanent debuff. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, you got to be able to sift through the good and the bad, and over time you'll hopefully have the experience to know the difference of, like, these are good people, these are bad people.
Yeah.
And the bad people will always exist, and just gotta be like, they don't want to talk to you.
So that's where paleo came from. Toxic comment.
Toxic, dumb.
So just so we can gauge it, we have a couple minutes left. By a raise of hands, who still has a question? Because I know I see 2 back there.
Let's do a lightning round.
3, 1, 2, 3, 4. But I think we can. Yeah. We'll start. I know you in the back have had your hand up for a while.
Well, this is my question, but yes.
Well, and I was gonna say we'll get through all 4 of you.
Like, how do you guys stay like motivated to complete like a video project? Because I am fucking so bad.
It's pacing. Everyone's different. There are some people who thrive under pressure. Some people who are workaholics. Some people who break under pressure, where they're like, I can't do it. I have to stop. I'm one of those folks where I'm ADD. I really am. That's not like, I'm ADD or I'm schizophrenic or whatever. People just using that term because they want to be cute. I have a hard time focusing. It's so hard because I do a video every single week if I can. And that can kind of like be like a train wreck where just after a while and it just piles up and I can't get the work done. So for me, it's like, I try to be reasonable. I break up my projects into like, I can't have this, just record everything in one day. It's like, no, record these first few paragraphs or like.
For me, it's not the recording because I'll record a whole bunch of stuff at a convention and then I have like a whole bunch of stuff. It's just like too much stuff.
Well, break it into pieces. Like, there's that old saying, which I don't know who the heck came up with this, but they're like, you can eat an entire elephant if you cut it up into pieces. I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Yummy.
But like the idea of like anything, if you break it down into segments, it makes it so much easier to manage, and it doesn't seem so overwhelming because it's just part 1 of 10 instead of part 1 of an hour long of footage or whatever. And also it comes down to you being able to understand yourself and what kind of workload you can deal with and what kind of personality you are with that workload.
I also try to create schedules for myself, not ones that like I release to the public, but just like for me, like saying I'd like to be done with this by this. Not because I have a deadline, but because if I make that schedule, it encourages me to at least try to kind of like be like, okay, I'd like to be done with this video by next week. All right, let's work on it. I also like hype myself up for stuff. Going back to the honeymoon conversation, I'll be editing that soon, and I'm already excited about like looking back and going, okay, what am I already forgetting that happened during that I'll be like, oh, cool, look back at that. So. I found that schedules help with that kind of thing. Just to create, you don't have to follow it to a T, but it sometimes reminds you like, okay, if I can get a little bit of this work done today, that's another thing I do is I'll break it up and be like, okay, 6 days to edit this. If I could do 2 minutes today, 2 minutes tomorrow, it makes it into more bite-sized pieces so you can get through that elephant. Yeah. And then you had a question? Yes. As in promotion. Do you know about that?
I don't really know about.
Is that the one where, because I know Facebook has.
Facebook does paid promotion. You can boost your post. I hate Facebook though. It's a stupid, disgusting website. I hate it. YouTube's not much better, but Facebook at least.
But it pays the bills.
It pays the bills. At least
Can't be worse than Tumblr.
Tumblr. They're all just every website ever. It's awful. They're all awful. But so your question about paid promotion, that sounds like a scam actually, because YouTube doesn't do that. Like they do that with like, I don't know, if you're what's it one like talk show host, not Jimmy Buffett. He's not a talk show host. Fallon.
Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett. No, there are talk show hosts and people like that who get on the front page of YouTube because they're from big TV networks who are throwing out the big bucks. Because I see the trending page, and it's like, trending, a video from Jimmy Fallon, 20,000 views. That's, thanks, yeah, it's obviously been paid for, it's not real. That's versus seeing other YouTubers who have millions of views and they're on the trending page. Exactly. So, like, be wary of that. That might be a scam.
It's in the YouTube studio, and there's a drop-down that's next to every video, and one of the options is promote.
I don't know.
I wonder if the promote. I've never used it before, so I wonder if it's like in your channel.
Yeah, actually, isn't that when you have like some sort of promotion in yours? So like you are promoting another product, you're promoting.
I think what it might do is because I know there used to be a thing where you could put a video at the end of a video, like it would be like a link. Have you used it? No.
Is it asking
I have no idea what this is.
Is it asking for money?
Well, it's. I clicked on it to see what it was about, and it said that you could pay to have your video featured on front.
No kidding.
That's kind of scummy. But
I didn't know they did that. The future's now.
I tread lightly with that. I mean, if you want to give it a shot, because I know that my buddy Jack Splade, he did a Facebook promotion, which like I guess finds circles of people who are involved in his content or click on his stuff and they push it as a promotion. But I mean, if you want to, I mean, I guess if it's there and YouTube's cool with it, I'm just very cautious of scams because I see stuff like where it's like buy views and it's like it doesn't matter because those views aren't going to count as revenue, and they're not going to follow you into the future. It's just a temporary boost of nothing.
I didn't even know YouTube did that, by the way. So even we're learning.
YouTube's being really aggressive as of late. They're trying to like expand and like make their own version of Patreon, make their own version of Twitch. They're trying to just be competitive with this evolving market, and
Google's getting nervous because they're like, Disney's growing faster than us. We must compete.
Comes down to the Game of Thrones for companies.
Yeah. Interesting though. I didn't know about that, so it's something to look into. And then I know we had 2 more questions. Yes.
For race, what do you look for when you get a camcorder?
What do I look for?
It works.
So yeah. If I'm able to, audio is a big one for me because I use most of my audio recordings come from this camera. So audio, I like having a night vision option because with the vlogs, it's real nice to have that. Like if we're filming in a dark ride at Disneyland or something. So I like having a night vision option, which is more and more rare these days to find. Just in general, I'll look up reviews and price. Like price is always a big one. It's always nice to have like other features. Like I remember the last camera I had was like, hey, cool, this one has projector mode, and I'm like, I'm never gonna use that, but it happened to be the camera that I wanted, and I'm like, all right, projector mode. I can put it here, and you can see it a little bigger there. Great. But some people might actually want that, so. Like for me, those are probably the big kind of quirky ones. Like night vision isn't probably one that everyone's like, oh, I need this in a camera. But I love having that option because, like again, if I'm on Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland, I'm not going to turn a light on and ruin everyone's experience.
They'll shut the light down for that. Turn the light off.
Hey. They just fire at you.
Last question.
Yes, this is the last question.
Okay, so this is probably the worst last question.
Good.
But
Perfect.
What are your plans after season 9?
I know for Saber, you are just gonna.
I only do pony exclusively. So I'm just keep my eyes open for other shows to watch and stuff like that.
Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls? Is it coming back?
No, but just like
But you scared the heck out of it. What? There's a lot of content out there for watching.
Like I know, like with my channel, it's more kind of MLP centric. Like there's a lot of random stuff on it. But actually, right now I'm kind of working in expanding things with. Not just with content, because I know I've always talked about like, I'm going to branch into other stuff. Still kind of working on that when I have time to do it. But I know that like a lot of people are worried, like, is Bernie's Reacts going to just go away? No, it's not, at least for now. Like, we're not going to milk it to where it's like, oh, we're just making stuff to make stuff. But I still feel like there's enough things that I want to hit that we haven't touched yet. and who knows when Generation 5 is going to pop up, and if it's soon enough, then it'll just be a streamline right into that. But I'm also like looking into starting actually like a game channel with my wife, so she could just yell at me the whole time while I'm playing video games, because I'm so not good at video games, and she's pretty decent, so she just sits there like, oh my god. So yeah, so
All right, that's it, guys.
that's it. So thank you guys so much for coming to the How to YouTube channel.
It's Sunday. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, have a good rest of your convention, and thanks for coming to Whinny City PonyCon 2019.